It's a cold morning. It's really cold. I'm in long sleeves and I'm so cold. You know what? It went down to 47 degrees last night. Hello, it is Robbie from Southern California and it is December 1st. Where in the world did the year go? But you know what? It's the holiday season, so let's enjoy that. What am I doing? I watch Hallmark movies, different movies, Christmas movies. It's just so fun and uplifting. There's the turmeric. It's starting to show signs of, well, let's say the weather is changing, but it's still going strong. And what's amazing on this, it's been growing in shade from the pepper tree. But I'll be harvesting that as soon as all the leaves die back. All the trees here are doing okay. Maybe next year I'll get apples. These apple trees, I actually grew them on my deck from seed. When I was composting on the deck, all these apple seeds came up and they grew into little trees, and I just didn't have the heart to compost them into the ground. So I just stuck them in places and we'll see. So anyways, here's the chair garden. Now, I'm going to tell you, we're going to do a walkthrough fairly quick because we've been doing other things here. So I have done zero except for harvesting. And basically that's it, and thinking of what I'm going to do because we've been doing other things on the inside. But as far as food, so far, because we haven't hit a freeze, we are still getting tomatoes. I'm still getting, there's turmeric growing here. There's beautiful old greens, all kinds of brassicas everywhere, more tomatoes. I've got red vein sorrel. I make green drinks out of it. You could use it for salads, stir fries, everything. There's celery down on the bottom there. I've got garlic growing in some of these containers. I've got garlic chives growing, walking onions. Here, I'm going to change that up. We'll see what we do with this in the spring, but I didn't do anything in here. And you know that. I've got an avocado tree back there. I still have all this shark fin melon. Oh my goodness. We'll see what we're going to do with that. And then there, whoops, let's walk through here carefully. Gary's been picking pomegranates and bringing them in. And yeah, they're starting to show age because we should get them in right away. So I've got pomegranates there and there. Now this is another plant that I grew on my deck from compost. I didn't plan on it, just kind of threw a bunch of seeds in there, composting it. And a lot of times seeds don't compost. Keep that in mind. The flesh of the plant will, leaves, the branches, but the seeds are designed to grow. And then I ended up with a ton of them. Oh, you know, I'll tell you a story I didn't talk about. So I ended up with like 100+ trees. Look at this. And I didn't know what to do with them. And I picked a whole bunch. Here, let's just do a walkthrough and I'll tell you. And this is all on pomegranates. I picked a whole bunch of them and I tossed them on a table. And I left them there. And I went back a week later and they looked just as good as when I pulled them out. There was no soil, no nothing. And I realized I can pull out the pomegranate seedlings. They're only about that big and they'll sit. The bark on it or the trunk on it stays nice and hard, but you could see that the plant was still alive. So what I ended up doing is I went onto eBay. You know, I used to put my artwork on there. And I looked and people were selling them for like $10 a tree. So I believe it's so many years now. It's been at least 7-8 years since I've done that. I started selling like 7 of them for $10 because shipping was high. And I sold them all and people were so excited. And then the ones I didn't sell, of course, I planted. So there's there, and there's other places around the property. And so hopefully people ended up with pomegranates from the seedlings that I grew accidentally. And they were just fabulous. It was just wonderful. So I'm not doing that again. But back then I was doing artwork. And I thought, well, why not throw the pomegranate seeds, the seedlings up there and sell them? So people got a whole bunch. They may have bought, let's say they were getting 8 or 10 or whatever it was, but they got a whole box full because I had so many. Look, I'm still growing cucumbers. And periodically I still see flowers coming up. Oh, I've got to pick my beans so I can regrow them. The best seeds to grow are the ones from your garden if they're not hybridized. So we're not going to talk about that today, but those will grow fantastic because they grew here and they were happy. Of course, they don't look happy now, but that's the way it is. Another little odd looking cucumber back there. And I think there's some more there. And there's another one back there. I've been picking. I've got a bucket full in the house. Then I've got a little eggplant. I am going to change a lot of this up. And what I'm not going to talk about today, because I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, is I am going to plant differently. So be sure in the spring to start watching and listening to me because I'm not just going to come out here and plant, oh, I want to plant Swiss chard here, and I'm going to plant some brassica there, and I'm going to plant a pepper there. I'm actually going to strategize, because I think it's going to be important to get food growing. The prices of food is just going crazy right now. And I can take an area and grow more food in a tiny spot if you stop and think of what you're doing. And that is what I'm going to do. This past year, I kind of just threw things around because we do have a lot. Like I said, I don't have to do anything right now, and I have enough for all winter. All winter, and then I froze enough too. Let's see, so I've got Malabar spinach. That's going to die back soon. This is the sow thistle, and I leave this for the birds. You've got everything going on. This is seed, and this is what the goldfinches come in and eat. And then there's going to be little insects in there, and the bush tisks come in and pick on that. And then in the spring, if the hummingbirds stay here and nest, they use the nesting material. I should say they use the seed that I just showed you, the fluffy stuff that looks like cotton, for nesting material. So it's a win-win all the way around for the birds. So I don't even know what that is. That's probably from the work we've been doing. There's stuff laying around. And that's basically it. So nothing here has been done. I've left the Malabar spinach to grow along the bottom. Look at that, all wild. Tomatoes are still growing. Swiss chard, this is a sad little Swiss chard, but you know what? The leaves are still good to go through and pick. So I'm not going to pull anything out until I'm ready to compost. There's peppers, those are the black cobras, more red vein sorrel, there's green sorrel, Malabar spinach, onions, walking onions, tomato plants, more Swiss chard, more green sorrel, geraniums. I have to show you how to grow geraniums. I grow them everywhere. Those are all in pots, and I can now move them. They've been propagated here. I've got purslane growing because it came off my deck here, and now I'll have it forever. Lettuce coming up everywhere in between. I haven't even cleaned up the lettuce. I should be pulling all this off and then grooming it, and the lettuce would get bigger. But you know what? I can come through there. There's even carrots in there. I can still pick lettuce. This one's going to bolt. I'm going to let it bolt, and I'll get the seeds, and then I'll plant more of the seeds. Now on the bottom, look at this. The popolo is still growing all along the bottom. This is really the same that you saw last year. 2 weeks ago, not last year. I did not have this last year. This is new. I have never seen popolo here grow the way it is. And what is it growing in? This is what I talk about. Living soil. Now, I'm looking at it that our temperature may have been different. Let's theorize here for a moment. This is a good theory. I haven't talked about this. This is a rock driveway. Now, nobody's laid rocks here for years, but that's what this was. Nothing has grown here except for your common weeds that don't need much soil at all, including sow thistle and other stuff I don't even know that comes up. But what has happened here? No wood chips have ever been laid here. And nothing has ever grown as far as vegetable matter on the ground. But this year I've got Malabar spinach down there. Now if you look up, what do we see here? We have a few different types of trees here, and this is carrot wood. And there's another carrot wood. I'm not sure which the other one's called. They've been dropping their leaves here, and we haven't raked up. So though you see the rocks, this is starting to make me think what is going on. I'm hoping it's making you think. The leaves, and we can see the leaf matter. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know there was a mustard there. Look at that. I think the rock driveway has turned into what I'm calling is living soil. Nothing I put there. I didn't dump any soil there. I didn't dump any potting mix, nothing at all. But what I have let drop were the leaves. So over the past few years, the leaves have been falling, breaking up that nature, like nature does, going in between the rocks and getting underneath this hard pack clay, because that's what this is. Hard pack, and slowly working its way in. And there has been pockets that is good enough for plants to grow. So you've got a couple popolo plants there, another one next to the tote. Of course it's going to be next to the tote because it's going to grab wonderful nutrients coming out of that. Same thing here, because I've grown popolo here for a while in different containers. So it has found an area that is just perfect, where it gets enough water. It gets nutrients from leaves that have fallen. It's getting water from the containers that are up on the top there. These are upside down containers. They used to sell them for like $100. Some places have had them for 66, and I bought them from Walmart years ago for $2.50. They were blowing them out. Don't buy them. You could do much better with dish pans. For $2.50, I would say yes, buy them. But do you see what's happened? The soil has changed. The area has changed all through here. So it's getting water from when I water the containers up there. It's getting soil, because there's no soil falling out of any of this. Look around. It's getting soil from nature. Isn't that cool? And just enough to grow. Now, if it had more soil in there, that has broken down, people want to call it compost because it's from leaf matter. They would be, let's say 6 feet tall. They're only 2 to 3 feet tall, but that's a start. Now, if I continue to let the leaves fall, and I'm not going to stop them, next year, when the popolo grows in here and the mustard and other plants, I do think I do remember mustard in there, and then I've got purslane growing. It could turn out to be 5 feet tall next year because the soil is going to continue to turn, let's call it compost, in between the rocks, is going to continue to get richer and richer and richer. And that's how things change. And I didn't do a thing. Look at this. I've got to collect my tomatillos. I've collected a few. I don't see any on the ground. Those are all rocks. But I want to collect these and freeze these. See what I've been doing? They're not coming loose. Oh, yeah. You know what tomatillos are. Oh, I can't do this with one hand. There. Oh, it's a purple. It's a purple. I made chili the other night. Gary went wild. And I had these in the freezer and some good ones, that I just picked and chopped them up and put them in my chili. Actually fried them with a little bit of butter and onions and then put it in chili. It was so good. But there it is. So, surprise, we've got a purple. I'll come back and get it later and freeze it. So keep that in mind. This is why I say you can buy potting soil, of course, especially if you're getting started, but you can make your own soil. And this soil that grew all these different popolo plants, all of them are coming from here. And I'm going to almost think that the carrot wood is probably very rich because that's a carrot wood plant. And this is all the popolo growing under it. Isn't that cool? All right, let's go for a moment in the front yard. Well, as you can see, it's the same. I left a tool. I think things have snagged it a little bit. This one really got weathered. That's because I was rough with it. But this will be good to set up something here later. I'm not sure what. Looks like my marigolds are done. This is beautiful. I'm not sure if this is a broccoli or a hybrid that came up, but I'm leaving it. And then I've got onions and nothing else. I had my tomato project in here. It was growing those little dwarf ones. I'm not going to bother with that again. If I plant some seeds, it will be for fun because I bought some different packages. But that's going to be it. I'm going to go mainly with cherries because the cherry tomatoes grow the best. You get so many more on a small plant. You want to groom the plant. You want to keep it small. They'll keep growing. Oh, look, a package was delivered. Yes, cherry tomatoes will be great, but I'm not going to get the dwarfs. I love the cherry tomatoes. Look at this. Is that not beautiful, just coming up in a container? This got moved here. These containers are from the 99-cent store. And they sit here because I don't know where to put them. So I've got walking onions growing in here, red vein sorrel. Look at the red vein sorrel, loves it. I've got flat leaf parsley growing there, and then the zinnias that come up. And I haven't done anything with my table. But this I'm starting to work on, and we're going to work on this in the spring. Look at that. This is something that we're going to have to talk about. Those are my favorite, the dish pans. Anybody can grow on that. You have a teeny area. I'm going to show you how you can grow a ton of food in these dish pans. And I love them because you don't have the heavy lifting and they work fantastic. So we'll get into that later. Again, I'm propagating a lot of geraniums everywhere. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful celery. And don't forget, the leaves have more nutrition than the stalks itself, and that's when I use the leaves. So coming through here, nothing new, more flat leaf parsley on the ground. Why? Remember, this is blacktop. Gary threw all those wood chips there. They're breaking down and making soil. So I've got a geranium coming up on its own. I didn't plant it here. Just started growing. A piece fell down there. I've got parsley growing there. So remember, Mother Nature makes soil. Okay, not a good example. Though pine needles do make soil, they take forever to break down. So if you want to create airspace, get some pine needles. I don't use a lot of them, but if you chop them up, I've got a whole video on that, then they will break down. If you leave them whole, it's like a wax straw. They don't break down that much. Geraniums, again, look at this. These are growing in the bricks, in the cement cinder blocks, or I should say the cement blocks. They're growing in there, and then they're getting so big, I have to keep trimming them now. Isn't that gorgeous? Now my ginger and my turmeric. Still growing. I could harvest it, but this has got a lot of good rich color, and it's throwing a lot of new leaves. So I'm gonna leave it right now. It's hugging the brick wall. I don't think the bricks are that warm, but the stucco is warmer. But it's doing so well that I'm gonna leave it for another month. The moment they all go like this and they turn yellow and they're dying back, I'm gonna have to harvest it, because last year I waited too long and I lost some of them. So when I went in there, a few of them kind of got mushy, but the rest were good. It's, believe you me, I didn't have any shortage of ginger or turmeric, especially turmeric. It's a little hardier, but it worked out fantastic. But I'm saying, let's see, we're in December 1st now. January 1st, I think it's gonna look like this poor tomato plant. No, actually, this is a tomatillo plant. The tomato plant is still going. The tomatillo is pretty much done. Is this? Yeah, that's the tomatillo. That's coming up in the, this is the 2 system, and I'll redo that later, and it's coming up. The tomatillos are all off. I've brought in a lot of them and froze them already, and they're very seasonal. They grow like a determinate tomato. They throw all their fruit, and then they're done. The tomato plant, I don't know if it's gonna make it or not. It's kind of all over the place, but we'll see. But anyways, this will be done, I would say, in about a month, and that's okay. All right, let's go now into my favorite, the bird garden. Okay, there's going to be changes in here. No, we've been working on indoor projects more. This has to stop. This is something I've been doing. Look at that. Compost, because I don't know where to put it. That's what Gary said. You know, I'm piling it. I know, but guess what? I was sitting here the other day and I thought, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I think what I'm going to do, you're going to go wild about, and you're going to do it too. I see a dragon fruit down there. So we do have more dragon fruit left. Gary did a big harvest of dragon fruit. Gonna do my extra compost differently. Normally I come through here and I just throw it all in here. And then when I want to get something, oh, let's say a better soil or something, or to add to a container, I'll just come in here and fish around and get some of it out. But I'm going to do it different. And I think it's going to help you. And we'll talk about that probably soon, because I've done it on my deck. So we'll see how that goes. This is, I thought this was dying back, but that is not dieback. So I had caterpillars on here. I would come out here and look, but I think a lot of times they go down around the edges or into the soil or hide, and then they come out, and I would sometimes come out here and find them. You know why? Because my orioles are gone, and they would clean this off. But it's pretty much done. I'm not going to worry about it because I want to move this. This big trough is going to move. Well, I may not move this exact one. We have an extra one. I'm going to take the soil out and move it to the other side of the yard. These things are, I don't want to call them a nightmare to move, but think of the soil that's in there. You can't pick it up, move it. It weighs a ton. I created wonderful soil for free, all from the garden, just loading it up. But when you want to move them, it's not like a tote. It's so easy to move a tote. Shovel it out, put it in a bucket or two, and then move it anywhere you want. But this, oh, this is going to take a long time. But I may get some cuttings off of this. This is a yellow tomato. Then I've got this sun gold. You can probably see the orange one back there. And then I had some red cherry tomatoes, and they're in there too. Still trying to grow tiny cherries. The plant's gone. It really is. I've got walking onions on the bottom. But I'm going to move this because I'm going to expand the bird garden. See, Gary put some rebar up there. And this protects the birds. Oh, I see the spice finches are coming in right now. Oh boy, have we got new birds in here that we're so excited about. Go check the new videos. My goodness, the white-eyeds that have been coming in, they're like a warbler. They're absolutely gorgeous. And there's so many birds. We have 60 small species of birds that come through here. And that is the reason I'm going to expand the bird garden. Now the bird garden's going to have a lot of food, because as you look around, I've got the tree collards growing all through there. We've got the dragon fruit. We've got lemon verbena. We've got, of course, tomatoes. I'm going to keep tomatoes growing in there. I've got flowers that have found their way here without me, but birds planted them. In other words, they came in and pooped. More lemon verbena. Walking onions again. Mint, chocolate mint. I'm propagating kufia. It's called Hummingbird's Lunch. break off a branch. I've got another one growing in there, and you can keep growing it once you've got it. Then let's see, what else am I growing in here? I've got mint. I've got dinosaur kale. Is this not beautiful? I moved that there. I moved another cutting that I had grown in there. I mean, this is going to be food for me, but also the birds can come in and forage through here. Now, these are a lot of emu plants. This is an emu bush. This is an emu bush. This type is pink. It grows straight up. If you can see how this one grows, that one grows low like a bush. Then I've got different, let's see, I've got salvia there. Is that salvia? I've got salvias in here. I've got different plants. Oh, look at this. Even back here, oh, this is sage. I've got sage here, and yes, this is salvia, and everything loves that. And then my papaya made it. Let's see if we can get back here for a moment. This is a rose cutting I did, which is really thorny. I gotta be careful. Look at that, my papaya made it. Now, if it makes it through the winter, I can have a giant papaya in there. I planted another one and something nipped the top off back there. It was in the cottage cheese container, and I can see the top is gone. I may start again. I've got some seeds, and see if I can get some more in here. That would look gorgeous, but I'm also gonna put a lot of tree collards in there because they grow like a weed here. And look at back here, hear all the birds. Isn't this gorgeous? This is all brassicas. This is my pride and joy, the big green one. So I've got another one back there. I've got purple tree colored. This is the plant I bought. Oh, the flowers need to be taken off. This particular rose was from the 99-cent store. There's no thorns on this one. This one I planted, kind of winding it around. I have to be careful where I wind it. This one's got a lot of thorns. Gary didn't want me to plant it. But you know what? I rooted it. It grew, so I stuck it back here. More different types of flowers in here. I'm growing my own seeds for the birds. Not that I have to not buy seed, we do, but I grow seeds so the birds can come in and eat from plants that are growing. And I think this is bringing in the 60 species of small birds now. They find their way here. It's safe because of the wood. All these branches that are crisscrossed help to keep the hawks out. Even if the hawk tries to come in, by the time he comes in, they see him and they can dart into the trees or take off into the hillside. It has worked fantastic. Another geranium, I need to get cuttings off of that one. That was a little tiny plant I bought. It's gotten quite big, so I want to get some more because cuttings and more plants off this, because look at the color on that. You know what they're doing? Those are spice finches, and pintail whiters are screaming at me. They want me to leave. That bowl, boy, I can tell you the story on that. That's just a glass bowl, like a serving bowl, with rocks in there and a pump. Nothing fancy with a stick. In the beginning, I put it up and I thought it was a bust. Nothing really looked at it. Now everything comes to it. This fountain, I bought at the thrift store for like 20 bucks. I threw myself on it and called Gary to get down with his truck. No, I held on to it. I paid for it and I called Gary, you've got to come down. I got that years ago, maybe 6 years ago. This one was in the trash because this one had an electric pump on it. Right now, it's not getting the sunlight. See, the panel is facing this way and the sun is that way, so it will turn on pretty soon. Yeah, somebody threw it away, and I dragged this thing home because it was in the trash, and we took the pump out. I just cut it out and dropped in a solar pump. See, and here's the wire. It goes back here. It's old, but oh, the birds love it. That one I bought at the thrift store too. I think I paid $16 for that, and that I bought on my birthday. I went in there, it was my birthday in June, and the guy had just brought it into the thrift store, and I didn't know if it worked or I didn't care. I figured I'd fix it if it didn't, so I bought that from a thrift store. So as you can see, I haven't done anything else. I'm still trying to spot in some more tree colored all through there. The tomatoes here that came up with my potatoes, look at this. Is this not gorgeous? Look at this. It's protected. You know how I say I don't go to the top of containers? See the lip? That, all this shelters the base of the plant when you don't go to the very top of your containers. So the plant itself is protected, and remember, everything has drain holes. So many of you asked, are there holes? Yes, there's holes. But look at that. The plants love it. Came up on its own, and now I've got a whole bush here of beautiful small type tomatoes. But I also have potatoes in there. This is full of potatoes. There's one back there. There's potatoes in here I've got to get. This is a potato plant. Oh my gosh. It's still attached. Look, 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 look. Oh, I definitely have to get this, and I want to cover that up. Hold on, sorry for the interruption, but I want to get in there. I didn't even know what was in there. I had all this potatoes and then other things grew, and I probably won't get the potatoes out of the tomatoes because I'd like to have tomatoes for the winter, so that would be nice. All this is doing good. Some of them did better than others. I went through with my auger and dropped in tree colored, so a few of those are taken off. There's one there, that one's there. So they're starting. The ones that get a good root system right away will take off. Then Gary's got all these plants he's been buying. They had them like 75% off. I said, if you see something nice, buy them and leave them in my garden and I will water them because I know he's doing a lot. We're doing the back room. I'm going to put a video up on that. May be up already by the time you see this. Not just the back room, but how he did our entire kitchen. And we were told the kitchen would have cost over $10,000 and he did the whole kitchen for under $1,000. And I'll tell you how he did that. And it's beautiful. So that's it. You know, nothing, like I said, we've been working on the inside. This is the mess I left inside in a bucket. So this is all turmeric. And I just literally at that point, I said, I'm just dropping it in there. It was a big clump. Whatever happens to it, fine. And when it completely dies back, because it's still getting fed, because look, it still has a lot of growth, but I didn't plant it until it kind of looked like that. Later on, when it dies back, I'll get that out, harvest them, store them in some potting soil. You could do it in sand or potting soil and keep it slightly damp, very slightly, off and on, adding maybe a tiny few drops of water, and then I can replant it out in the spring. But that was like just too much to do. So I got that out a couple months ago. And then this, it's just our dampness is bringing in the morning. Look at this mildew. That's okay. It's fine. Look how beautiful it looks. And this too, we had to tie it back because Gary needed to get a vent popped in there. So Gary tied this back for me because as you remember, I was walking through it and I want to do cuttings off of this. Because I've never had this go to seed. And either way, I would want to get it straight off the plant just the way it looks. And I have done quite a bit in this way it grows that purple. Otherwise, it would hybridize with one of the other brassicas and you don't know what you're going to get. It could be better, but I do know I want to keep that purple because I use it for eating and I use it for composting. And there's my sink. So all in all, we made a complete circle. Let's try to get out this gate. Look at this, the strawberries. I'll have to do something with them. You know, I'm not that thrilled with these strawberries. They don't throw a lot of strawberries. They throw a lot of plants. So I'll see what I'm going to do. Look at this. Let me close that. I'll see what I'm going to do. Now, these are plants that I bought years ago. They throw more strawberries. I'm constantly picking little ones here and there. But that particular variety, no. We'll see in the spring. My potato plant. Look at that. I need to harvest that soon, and I waited too long last time and only got a few. So I'll harvest that later. You eat the little tubers underneath. It is in the mint family, but there's no taste to the leaves. They're kind of a thick, rubbery leaf. Just kind of a rubbery. I can't explain it any more than that. But what you do is you eat the tubers, and they're real little, and they taste like potatoes, but you can eat them raw or cooked. Haven't done anything else here except for trying to baby the pepper plants. And maybe they'll make it through the winter. Oh, look how nice these look. Make it through the winter, and then in the spring they can take off. And then my pepper plant there, I picked a ton of peppers the other day, and I'm gonna have more, and I've been freezing them, which is great. Let me tell you a secret on the peppers. If you are growing peppers and you wash them, don't cut them, don't do anything, don't blanch them, nothing. Dry them and throw them in a plastic bag and freeze them. Those seeds, when you take them out in a few months, will still grow, even though they've been in the freezer. And that's why I've got a whole bunch growing on my windowsill. When I cut it open, I dump them in a little cup, like a cottage cheese yogurt container. And it's so funny, they just keep growing and growing. So I'll have those to pick through. I just have to remember what they are. I try to keep the ones that are not too hot in one container and the ones that are hot in another. Yeah, this is kind of done. No, something got that one. But anyways, that's just a little tip. And then I'm back here, I've got still potatoes growing. And then there's, milkweed is coming up in there. But that is just onions growing, real onions, not walking onions. So those, again, are in dish pans. Geraniums, spotting them all through here so I can move them anywhere I want in the yard. The tomato plant, it might make it. What I could do on this one is cut it way back. I never got to that eggplant back there. Yellow eggplant is bitter, so once it turns yellow, you don't want to eat it. But this is making a really nice comeback, so I could trim this back, and there are little tricks and things you could do to keep it alive for the winter as long as we don't freeze, so I may do that. Pepinos, look at that, it's going to go to flower. This is a cutting. I just took a piece off of this one that's been growing here now for the past couple years and stuck it in there, and this one is already getting ready to throw the beautiful purple flowers. Is that not cool? It's not something I use a lot of, but when I have it, I can add it in the stir fry. If you let it turn yellow on the plant, I don't think I have any right now. I've picked them all. They're on the sweet side. They kind of have a melon taste, but if you take them off early when they're white and they're striped and purple, you use it more like you would use tomatillos or tomatoes. It's in that family. And then this is all milkweed. I didn't realize. I thought it was zinnias. No, I've got tomato plants still coming up through here. But see, here's another tomato plant. This is all milkweed. And I don't want to chop them out because my neighbor told me she wants a bunch. So I want to get them out in pots so I can pass them around. Why? Because we have brought in here hundreds of monarchs. See why we've got so much milkweed growing? This is milkweed seed. And then it drifts in the wind and it lands wherever it wants. Look at this Malabar spinach. I didn't plant it in there. Seed found its way. More milkweed down there. My pepper plant looks sad. So this, oh, it's going to throw flowers though. I should just give it a good grooming and leave it. This is still a mess because we're still working here. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Shark fin melon, even squash I didn't pick. I will compost it. Not much in there right now. I've got still basil back there, more tomatoes. My pizza, like I said, we're still working. So once this is completely done, then I can clean this up again. I'm in no hurry. I want to enjoy the holiday season, take a break and a deep breath and be all rejuvenated for the new season when it comes to start planting, because I want to change things up so when I plant something, I'm a little bit more organized as to what I am serious about and what I'm just doing for fun. If it grows, it grows. And we all should do that. So this way, if there's something you really want, let's get that planted where we know it's going to grow. And then you can also grow it in areas where we're just going to see if it grows. Basil is still growing. And then my thyme is still green. Again, I told you 2 weeks ago, I need to bag this up. I've got to go through and collect the different sages on some basil. I need to make pizza bags is what I need to do and freeze them so I can make my pizza water is what I do. I've got oregano. This is a rosemary cutting I did a couple years ago. Look how beautiful and big it is. Everything's going really good in there. And then there it is. So we've made a circle quickly. I did not want to bore you because like I said, look, we've got the dumpster there because the back room, we do have help on that, and they brought this little dumpster here, and they're telling Gary to keep throwing stuff in there, and then they're going to empty it. So we are working on the inside. At least he's working on the inside. I'm just stepping back and going, how about that? How about no? Well, kind of yes, like the doors. Oh, we're going to go white. Do you want white? And then it's yes. And then just before he hit the doors with the brush, I said, stop. I need to throw this out there and see what other people think. And then I decided, oh, maybe not white. So we'll let you know what we ended up doing because I go back and forth. A lot of stuff was stopped. Do you want this? Do you want that? So we're done. We're almost done. Now it's more of a cleanup and seeing how we're going to do this. And Gary's very excited because he's got projects he wants to do on the inside. And he thinks it's going to be really nice with this room done. So this will be good. It's sat for 15 years. More of a storage room, and now it's a fancy storage room. I don't know. We'll see in the next couple days. I'll show you what's going on. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I didn't bore you too much because like I said, we're basically going into winter. In a few more weeks, we're going to be in the winter. It is cool. 47 degrees is really cold for a lot of plants. That's why really the squash plants are done. They don't like that. You're not going to have much growing. I'm surprised the cucumbers are still alive at that temperature, but they are. But we're going to go lower than that. Soon we'll probably be in the low 40s, and by January we'll probably hit maybe 38 degrees here and there, and a lot of plants don't like it. But again, a lot of your tomatoes can make it through, and the pepinos, and a lot of the greens don't care at all. They actually grow better when it gets cold, as long as they have a good root system. Once they're established, they don't mind the cold, as long as we don't get too cold for too long. And there's more. Look at this. This is all the junk piled around. Everything had to be moved. These are pomegranate trees. Again, we've picked most of the pomegranates off of this. Again, this is all part of those seedlings I grew, and they were coming up, and I was selling them like mad. Like, people were like, wow, she's selling how many trees? I think I had like 7, 8 for 10 bucks, but I was sending them 15, 20 because I had tons. I think it was literally, no joke, like hundreds of them. And I wanted to get rid of them because I didn't want to compost them. So it worked out really good. Really, really nice. And then this was a seedling, this bottle brush that Gary found out front, and the birds love it. He found it growing out by the street. It came off of a big plant we've had here, and he stuck it here, and look how beautiful it grew. All from a seedling he found in the ground and moved here years ago. And then the citrus are doing really good. And I have not gotten to the garden down there. There's the garden way down there. I don't know if I will. We'll see what happens in the spring. Right now, kick back, enjoy the holiday season, even if it's just to have a cup of hot cocoa and watch TV. And let me tell you something, it does help if you like movies like that. Yeah, some people don't, but I do. I enjoy the quiet, calm, lower your heartbeat a little bit, lower your blood pressure, and take a break for a month or so. And remember, next time, freeze more, and you'll have some more. You know, you want to grab something from your freezer, you'll have it. We can think about different things when spring comes. With that, have a wonderful day. Don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. I just love the birds. I can hear them up in the trees. Oh, I'd have so much sunny land if I take that tree out, but that is like so full of birds. I don't want to ever touch that tree. And she is gone.